Why do some people choose to start freeforming after they've been retwisting or maintaining their locks as normal? Well, it may be because you either want to have a more fuller look with your locks, you may want to have less maintenance, or you just want to experience what freeform lock journey is like. So I'll be talking about how to transition your locks from traditional locks to freeform locks in this video. So keep watching. Today we're talking about something that I've gotten a lot of questions about, which is how to transition your locks if you've been traditionally styling your locks and maintaining your locks, how to transition into freeform locks. And this is a large question I've gotten because a lot of people know that I have a semi-freeform lock maintenance routine where I don't retwist, I don't palm roll my locks, and I don't go to anyone to get my hair done. Nobody's ever touched my locks but me. And even though they're looking a little bit more traditional these days, I have semi-freeform locks. But semi-freeform is a style of freeform locks or a type of freeform locks where you maintain your locks with some type of manipulation, whether it be separating your locks or only retwisting every once in a while, like every couple of months, or maybe even interlocking or not interlocking, using the crochet method. So let's define what freeform locks actually are. Unlike traditional locks, freeform locks is usually maintained. So unlike traditional locks, which is, like I said, frequently maintaining your locks, usually about once a month, with palm rolling, retwisting, or interlocking, freeforming your locks is not maintaining your locks at all. Other than washing your locks, you don't do anything to your locks. The traditional way to start freeforming is literally to wash your hair, do your regular cleaning maintenance as normal, because you want to make sure that you're cleaning your locks, and I'll get into that a little bit later, more in depth, but you want to make sure that you're still washing and cleaning as regular, but you just stop maintaining. You stop the retwisting or whatever. And the most natural way, or the best way, I would say, to start freeform locks is to just freeform. So you don't need to do anything to freeform. Like, you don't need to start with coils in your hair. You don't need to start with 2-strand twists like I did. However, the most freeform is not starting with any type of parting system or any type of layout. It's literally just letting your hair start to grow and form on its own, hence the word freeform. So when we talk about going from freeform to traditional locks, it's really that you are now going to be semi-freeforming. Because you start with traditional locks, you're really starting with some type of foundation for your locks to grow into and form into, because you're not starting from scratch, which is afro textured hair or any type of hair really forming on its own. So you've already formed your locks, you've already sectioned them off, and your locks have already started to form. Whether you started your traditional locks with 2-strand twists, coils, instant locks even, which is more difficult with instant locks because they are already very well formed. But it doesn't matter how you start your traditional locks. All of these next couple of steps that I'm going to tell you about going from traditional to freeform will apply. There could be like multiple reasons why you might want to transition into freeform locks from traditional locks. So the first thing I would do is assess why you want to do it. I personally transitioned into freeform from traditional locks when I realized that maintaining my locks was doing some type of manipulation. And I did used to palm roll and retwist my locks maybe about once a month. And I did that for about 5 months into my lock journey. So my locks personally were not mature at all. They were still teetering into the teenage phase of maturation, which means I was only about 6 months in when I stopped retwisting my locks. And I did it mostly because I wanted my wash days to take less time. I wanted to maintain my hair less. And I also didn't want to have such a manicured, neat look. Even though nowadays, since my locks are very mature, and I do have semi-freeform locks, by the way, that because they're mature and because I've had my locks for a little over 4 years, the hairs in my new growth just know where to go. So I don't get as much of a afro look on the roots of my locks. And it's really easy for my new growth to grow into my locks. And yeah, that's just how they've matured, how they've grown. However, I do have semi-freeform locks, even though my locks are looking more traditional. And that's also because my locks are a lot more heavy because I've had them for longer and they're 4 years. Have 4 years in length, and the longer your locks get, the more they will probably fall instead of looking, more so like an afro shape. And it also has to do a lot with how your natural hair falls. So one thing I would be very mindful of before you go into deciding to freeform is, how does your natural hair fall? Like, is it more of a afro? Does it stick up naturally? Does it fall naturally? Does it grow longer in one section of your hair than the other section of your hair? And think about things like that, because those will be deciding factors of what you kind of want your hair to look like if you're going for freeform because of the way it looks. So here are the steps that you would take to go from traditional locks to freeform locks, or in your case, semi-freeform locks. Because again, anytime you've already started with traditional locks and then you want to transition them to freeform, it's going to be semi-freeform, which just means in between freeform and traditional. So the first process is just stop retwisting. And if you don't retwist, then you could stop whatever you do. If it's just palm rolling, you can stop that. If it is crocheting, you can also stop that. And the reason why I say just stop for a little while is because you want to see how your new growth grows in, so you can better learn your hair. When you regularly maintain your locks and you're regularly, let's say, retwisting every month to 2 months, you don't really know how your natural hair grows in. You don't know if your new growth grows into your locks or your new growth grows away from your locks. If your new growth grows away from your locks, that just means that whenever you don't retwist for a while, you get this big afro near the roots and it looks like breakage, right? But really that's just your hair has gotten used to being retwisted. So you're training your hair. When you retwist, you are training your hair to want to grow like that because it's expecting for you to maintain it and put it back in sections, basically. So when you have traditional locks, your hair has already been trained in a certain way. And in order to freeform with a lot more, I guess, seamlessness, you want to give your hair a full break of any type of maintenance so that you can see it in its most natural state. For example, I stopped retwisting altogether about 6 months after I started my lock, and it took me a couple of months to see my new growth coming in and to know that my new growth grows away from my locks. That just means that I had to, in order to prevent breakage, in order to prevent that like afro look in my roots, I had to start maintaining my locks with my own method, which is braiding my new growth into my locks. And I have a couple of videos on that. And if you want to watch a video on that, you can click the card here, but I'll also insert just a little clip of what that looks like. I'm not like a loctician, and this is not a braiding tutorial. So you can just watch how I braid it and then maybe try it for yourself if you've never braided before. So I just take the excess hair into 2 pieces and then my lock. And I may be getting a little bit ahead of myself, but instead of retwisting or palm rolling or doing any other type of maintenance that would otherwise, in my opinion, damage my roots and just cause a lot more problems for my hair in particular, I like that method for me. Now, after you stop doing your maintenance and you wait a couple of months, I would say at least 3 to 6 months before you start any other type of maintenance for your new growth, you'll realize what, if any, method you want to use to maintain your now semi-freeform locks going forwards. So I developed that routine for me, and it may work for you. Hopefully it helps. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe you want to go back to retwisting every couple of months or palm rolling every couple of months, but it's really up to you. Or maybe you decide that you don't want to palm roll at all or retwist at all, and you just want to let the new growth grow in how it wants to. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed the video so far, please give it a thumbs up and comment down below what you've got out of the video so far. It means the world to me. My name is Lauren, and I love to make content about lock journey, a holistic lifestyle, and wellness mindset. So if you like that, subscribe. Definitely, I appreciate you so much. The second step is you want to separate your roots as necessary. Now, I just recently made a video about popping your lock, and so I'm going to explain the difference between separating your locks and popping your locks. So here it is. Popping your locks is something that you do when you have a regular maintenance routine, and it is when you take the roots of your locks and literally break them apart and pretty much snap them. The reason that this doesn't necessarily cause breakage is because as soon as you snap the roots, the rest of your routine involves either palm rolling or, like I said, crocheting your locks or retwisting in order to put those popped locks or popped roots back into place. But separating your locks is not popping your locks, meaning it's not breaking your locks off at the root. So you're not causing any breaking off of the hairs, basically. You're just separating the hairs that have gotten tangled up. The reason why I personally think that separating your locks is better when you're going into freeform from traditional is because when you're going into freeform locks, you're gonna have less of that maintenance going on. Like I said before, once you go freeform or semi-freeform in this case, you can choose how often you want to maintain your locks, if any. I usually maintain my locks once a month with the braiding my new growth into my locks method, and I do not pop my locks anymore. I used to, but I personally realized that as my locks get more mature, I don't need to pop my locks. It's not necessary because no longer do my roots get as tangled as they used to, which is why my maintenance routine has gone way down from when I first did. It's just because as you are training your hair, basically, when you have locks, you're training your hair to do and be okay with doing what it needs to do on its own. And now my hair has been trained to be in locks, to lock on its own, and my new growth has been trained to go into my locks because I've slowly weaned my hair from popping, from the snapping, and from the separating. So I have a lot less to do than I did at first. You may find that's true for you. It also depends on where you are in your lock journey that you'll be able to tell if this happens for you or not. But for now, I recommend separating your locks and not popping your locks. The third thing is you want to cleanse your locks and moisturize regularly. And I cannot emphasize enough cleanse. By the way, if you see me looking over here, it's because my incense is burning and I like the little smoky effect it gives. Also, if you see any smoke going across the camera, that's my incense burning right next to the camera stand. But anyways, back to the video. Cleanse your locks. We don't want no dirty hair. Okay, so cleanse your locks and shampoo regularly. Regularly is relevant to your routine. So regular for me is like a week and a half to 2 weeks. Anything after 2 weeks is absurd for me to spread my shampooing routine out. But I do most of the times it's 2 weeks, and if I've really sweated a lot during that period, sometimes I push it to a week and a half. I have some products that you can get discounted from Free the Roots, and I highly recommend their soap bars. I use the lemon soap bar and also the herb garden soap bar, and I love it because you can just use the bar of soap. It doesn't involve any pumping with the pumping shampoo out of the bottle or anything like that. And I also have a discount code for 10% off. So check that out. Also, you want to moisturize your locks. Also, your moisturization routine is up to you what products to use, but I would definitely recommend something that's lightweight, because one thing that can happen with Freeform locks is you can definitely get buildup. Buildup happens when you use too much of a product, or the product that you use is too heavy for your locks. So one of my friends told me he was using Jamaican black castor oil on his locks to moisturize every week. Just Jamaican black castor oil. And I was like, oh no, 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 no. He needs to use something a lot more lightweight, because Jamaican black castor oil is way too heavy for his locks, and he also has Freeform locks. So instead, I recommended a product that I use, which is the Free the Roots aloe mist, and I use this every other day, every 3 days, every 2 days. It really is not a routine for me. It's just when I feel like my hair needs it. But I did use it this morning, and whenever my hair feels dry, I just spray that on my hair, and it has aloe, essential oils, and distilled water. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all you need for Freeform locks. Because your hair is natural, you need natural products, and you don't want to bog down your hair with so much heavy oils or even creams or gels that you might use. So keep it light, keep it lightweight, keep it simple, keep it clean, and keep it natural. And next, we have patience. Exercise patience when you're freeforming your lock, especially when going from traditional locks to freeform locks. Again, I cannot stress this enough that whenever you're locking your hair and you're maintaining it regularly with palm rolling, with retwisting, with crocheting, with interlocking, you are training your hair to get used to being manipulated. Think about it. Whenever you have loose natural hair and you're doing a certain style, and you do that style over and over and over again, your hair trains to be in that spot. For example, I used to wear slick back ponytails a lot when I was natural, and I used to love like slicking down my hair back, slicking down, and then I did little baby edges with a toothbrush, right? So what happened was I used to slick down my hair a lot on one side, and then sometimes the other side used to be out, or used to have another type of style, right? So the side that I always slicked down, which was usually my right side, it started to lay flatter than my left side. So my right side of my hair actually grows less than my left side, and you can actually see this right now. Do you see a little bit of, so here's the right side of my hair, and then here's the left side. So that's on average where each part of my hair stops. So still to this day, my right side doesn't grow as fast as my left side, because I used to always wear my side part on this side, and then I always used to slick my hair back on this side whenever I would do slick back style. So just be aware that when you have traditional locks and you're palm rolling regularly or you're maintaining regularly, your hair is getting used to and trained to be manipulated in that way. So when you start to freeform your locks, your hair is like, a breath of fresh air. I'm free. I'm no longer being bound and wound up. Not that retwisting is bad, but just saying that be mindful and really listen to your hair and exercise patience. Because when you start to freeform, you'll learn a lot more about your hair. You will learn that your hair just wants to do what it wants to do. It wants to be natural. And the more that we feed it well with eating right, drinking lots of water, and also keeping our stress levels down and our hormones balanced, it will do what it's supposed to do. And that's just it. So thanks so much for watching. If you want to watch my maintenance routine of braiding my new growth into my locks, again, you can click this video right here. And let me know what other videos you'd like to see from me next, and comment down below. Thanks so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.